there's a video I want to watch with you guys. I've heard some good things about Cyberpunk lately. That with the new patch and the updates and all that. Apparently this game is good now and it's worth playing. Patch 2.0, worth it. Is Cyberpunk 2077 finally good now? Review after patch 2.0 and Phantom Liberty. No spoilers. All right, let's see what we got here.
Cyberpunk 2077 is currently the 4th most popular game on Steam, just behind Baldur's Gate 3, Dota, and Counter-Strike. And now that the new DLC and 2.0 update are in the hands of the people, you probably heard some buzz about the game. So you might be wondering, is Cyberpunk 2077 finally good now? Is it worth my time and hard-earned money to play this game? That's what we're going to be talking about today. TLDR, yes, Cyberpunk 2077 is a good game, and if you like sci-fi RPGs or action games, then you're probably going to enjoy this title. Personally, I've sunk over 300 hours into this game since launch day.
I heard about how bad it was upon release, and I didn't even bother to even try it. So I want to know what they changed, what they fixed before I even consider it.
And I've become a bit of a fanboy, but I think it's with good reason. Cyberpunk has fun combat, an engaging story, interesting characters, and an immersive sci-fi city environment, and it's only gotten better over time owing to CDPR's numerous updates and bug fixes. Now, I've already done a couple of thorough reviews of this game.
So that guy had a fucking machine gun and he was running away from a dude with a melee weapon. I don't, like, pump him full of lead, bruh.
Detailing all the mechanics, story choices, and whatnot, so rather than retreading old ground, in this video I'm mostly going to focus on the changes and new content that's been added in the 2.0 update and Phantom Liberty expansion. This will be a spoiler-free review, and I won't mention anything that wasn't talked about in the trailers. But without further ado, let's dive right in. The combat and skill tree saw the biggest changes in the most recent update. You see, I
don't think I ever saw the original one, so this is all new to me anyways.
There are 5 attribute categories: body, reflexes, technical ability, intelligence, and cool, which is basically stealth. In previous versions of the game, each attribute had 2 subcategories with their own set of perks that you could buy with skill points. Most of the perks provided minor buffs to damage or other very minor tweaks like faster reload speeds, access to higher tier crafting specs, etc. In the new update, skills have been streamlined into 1 category per attribute, but many of the perks have a much more significant impact on gameplay, including brand new abilities that we've never seen in the game before. For instance, there's a fast dash ability, an air dash ability, a time dilation ability that greatly buffs damage, and many more. Melee combat saw the most significant changes with the inclusion of brand new finishers and the ability to parry bullets. My personal favorite is Quake, which allows you to perform a ground slam that deals massive AoE damage. It feels great to smash a bunch of gang goons with a giant hammer, you know what I'm saying? For the first time ever in this game, I actually had a lot of fun with melee combat, and now I keep a sword or hammer as my 3rd weapon slot, which I never would have expected in a million years. Stealth has also seen a significant overhaul to make it less broken at low investment. Before 2.0, you could create a viable stealth build with no point investment in cool. Enemies would detect you faster, but as long as you didn't walk into their vision cones, you could sneak around and do takedowns fairly easily. So one of my first characters was a min-maxed stealth netrunner build where I didn't put any points into cool. Yeah, that build doesn't work anymore. Enemies detect you a lot faster now if you're not building your cool attribute and perks, which is probably a good thing.
I've already maxed out my cool, let's be honest.
You might also notice that the Cold Blood perk has been completely removed from the game. Some people are not going to be happy about this for sure. Basically what Cold Blood did was provide a buff to movement speed whenever you performed a takedown. This effect could stack, and when you invested in associated buffs like Merciless and Defensive Clothing, you could essentially buff all of your damage and armor while Cold Blood was active. It was incredibly fun, but really imbalanced, so I suspect that's why it's no longer in the game. Now, you can obtain similar buffs to damage, armor, movement speed, etc. with some of the new perks, but they all work separately and don't stack onto this Cold Blood mechanic in the same way anymore. I also noticed the Hidden Dragon perk was not available in 2.0, and I was like, hey man, I liked ganking these gang goons off the top rope. I can't believe they took this out of the game. Then I realized you can still perform aerial takedowns. You just don't have to spend a skill point to do so anymore. On the one hand, this is nice, but on the other hand, I suspect some players will never even realize they can perform silent aerial takedowns on unaware enemies. 2.0 has also changed the way healing and grenades work. Rather than looting dozens of different grenades and max stock inhalers, you'll now just have a single item of each type that activates on a cooldown. On one hand, you'll never have to worry about completely running out of grenades or heals because you're not managing inventory anymore. But on the other hand, you cannot spam these items endlessly either, so it's a bit of a trade-off. Overall, Cyberpunk's combat is incredibly fun, and at this point, it's the best it's ever been. There's such a wide range of builds, weapon variety, and ways to play, which adds a lot of... Such a wide range of builds, weapon variety...
Look how she fell.
and ways to play, which adds a lot of player agency, creativity, and replay value into the mix. The Cyberware and armor system also saw a significant overhaul. There is now a limiting stat which tracks how much cyberware you can install. If you exceed the limit, you'll experience negative side effects and debuffs. You still can't go full-on cyber psycho, but this is a nice touch for game balance and makes your cyberware choices more significant. My current character had a really high investment in the body attribute, so I didn't come anywhere near the limit on cybernetic enhancements. The devs also mentioned that there would be new animations each time you visited a Ripper Doc to install cybernetic implants to make the whole experience more immersive, you know? But it's literally just a quick clip of you getting out of the chair. It's not a big deal, I just thought it was funny. Vehicle combat is also a brand new feature in the game, and it's alright. It's more...
So they failed to deliver on one promise. I wonder how many other promises they failed to deliver on.
Rudimentary than what I imagined. Some vehicles have mounted weapons, but the only ones I found just had a basic rifle that shoots one bullet at a time. So no automatic weapons or auto-targeting missiles or anything like that. I was expecting a more sophisticated array of mounted weapons, but it's possible I just missed something. You can also hack vehicles to detonate, accelerate, or slam on their brakes to make them crash, but a lot of times enemies will block your quick hacks in combat, so most of my vehicle encounters just saw me slowly whittling away enemies with the mounted pea shooter until either their car exploded or I took out the driver. Vehicle combat encounters really only seem to have...
And apparently their aim is horrible. I don't think they hit him once that entire time, and he was just like slowly moving and just sitting there. That doesn't seem fun.
Happen in the DLC zone during a few select story missions and El Capitan's new Radiant carjacking gigs. I'm sure you could probably provoke a gang member in a car to get into a scuffle, but it's not like you're suddenly going to get mobbed by enemy vehicles out of nowhere while you're driving through Night City. So if you don't enjoy the vehicle combat, you can mostly just ignore it. I personally don't find it as engaging as the standard guns, melee, and hacking combat from the rest of the game, but it is a nice addition nonetheless. CDPR also overhauled the police system and basically copied Grand Theft Auto. Now whenever you commit crimes, you'll gain a Wadden rating that ranges from 1 to 5 stars. And police units will pursue you unless you manage to hide and drop the rating. At higher tiers, they'll bring in the big guns, and supposedly you'll have a max tac response crew coming in hot. It's still a bit wonky though. In my 30 hours playing Phantom Liberty, I think I only caught a bounty one time, and it was for accidentally clipping a civilian with my car. So I decided to see what would happen if I went full-on cyber psycho and started attacking civilians, and
That is exactly what I think it is.
You know what? I didn't even get a bounty. I bashed civilians with melee weapons, chucked incendiary grenades. I even ran over a fat dude, which honestly felt pretty bad because us fat boys need to stick together. Even gunning down the police with my car's mounted weapon did nothing. So...
And the game's supposed to be better? I thought you just said they overhauled the police system. How is this better? What do you got to do to get a wanted rating? Like a wanted rating then? Like that doesn't... How's that better? This makes no sense. I am so confused.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think this is working as intended. Finally, the devs have added a
No, you don't think, huh?
lot more random battles between the gangs and cops throughout the map. Night City is an incredibly violent place, so these little touches make the game world feel more alive. I like that a lot. So, what about the new expansion? Is Phantom Liberty worth the $30 price tag? I've played about 30 hours so far, which includes running through all of the endings and completing a good chunk of the side content. Without getting into spoiler territory, I thoroughly enjoyed the main quest in Phantom Liberty. The spy thriller aesthetic was really well realized, and the new characters were great. That being said, Phantom Liberty is a bit smaller than I expected. For starters, the new district of Dogtown is incredibly small, maybe 1,000 meters from end to end, so you'll reach the limits of exploration in this zone pretty quickly. There also isn't as much side content as I was hoping for. Mr. Hands has 10 new gig jobs, but aside from his content, I think there were only 2 real side quests I discovered. And then there's the aforementioned El Capitan carjacking missions. So just in terms of content alone, this is nowhere near the same scale as, say, The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine or Fallout 4 Far Harbor. But Dan, didn't you just say you played 30 hours of Phantom Liberty? Yes, I did, but remember, I was running through all of the endings and replaying missions multiple times to gather footage for YouTube videos. Suffice to say, I had an absolute blast with Phantom Liberty, and I think it's worth your time and money, as is the base game. So there you have it.
I don't think it is. You just showed me a lot of stuff that didn't seem like it was improved. The whole police mechanic, you literally contradicted yourself. You said they added a wanted rating, and then you showed that you could literally run down pedestrians in the street and shoot cops with your fucking gun on your car, your mounted gun, and you wouldn't get a rating. Yet that's supposed to be better police. How do you get a wanted rating then? Like, what do you mean it's better?
Cyberpunk 2077 pulled it off. They completed the redemption arc, and the game is finally good now. I mean, it's always been a good game underneath all the bugs and jank, but that launch was rough, man. I'm so glad that CDPR dedicated the past 3 years to fixing the game.
Maybe this just wasn't the review to watch of the game now, but this guy has not convinced me that this game is good.
Adding in new features and making this the best experience they could. It's still bad that they launched the game in a broken and incomplete state, but they could have easily abandoned the project after launch, kind of like BioWare did with Andromeda and Anthem. I've come to appreciate this game so much more after playing Starfield too. Starfield was just so incredibly bland and unimaginative with its combat, storytelling, and quests. So seeing the incredible attention to detail that CDPR put into the cutscenes, character writing, weapon variety, and more, it just feels so awesome to play a great game again. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Cyberpunk and RPG videos. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.
Thank you, Big Dan. I'll put a link to your video down in the description, but you have not convinced me that this game is good yet. Maybe I'll watch I'll react to another review of it, and we'll see. That's going to be it for this one.